So it's that moment when I walk up and the 60-second countdown on the clock begins. The time gets lower and lower as my focus gets deeper. 6, 5, 4, my heart starts beating out of my chest, sweat building up under my suit. I'm getting deeper and deeper. And you guys know what's next on the clock. So why don't you say it with me? 3, 2, 1. And before I know it, I'm blasting off at exhilarating speeds, feeling the most intense pressure I've ever felt in my entire life. Okay, let's be real. I know you probably think I'm an astronaut. No? Okay. But I'm not. I'm an Olympic bobsledder, and it's through my Olympic journey that I understood the power of perseverance. As a bobsledder, you have one of two jobs. You're either the pilot, navigating the sled down the track, steering with not a steering wheel, but D-rings and a rope mechanism, controlling the sled as we go through these twists and turns. Or you have my role, the brakeman, which, yes, pulls the brakes after we pass the finish line. But my job is to explode off the starting block and get the sled moving from 0 to 100 real quick. Throughout the track, we pull G-forces, meaning we go against Earth's gravitational force, feeling pressures of up to 4 or 5 Gs. Now, to put that in perspective, astronauts pull around 2 to 3 Gs when rocketing into outer space. And during this time, I'm feeling the most intense pressure compressing me into the sled, pushing me further and further into the bottom of the sled. And you know what my job is supposed to be during this entire time? Stay relaxed. Like, what? That's literally backwards. If you knew the most uncomfortable feeling was coming, naturally you would tense up, compact into a small ball, protect your head. And in these moments, I have to do the complete opposite. I have to exhale, breathe out, relax, and trust that this moment in the course is needed in order to pass the finish line. This becomes the demand of what I'm doing, that uncomfortability you have to face in order to achieve your greater goal. It's no easy path to the Olympics. There are over 7 billion people in the world, and in the 2014 Winter Olympic Games, there were only 2,873 athletes that competed. A lot of people want to know what it takes to become an Olympian. You know, after you get past your natural God-given talent, like, what does it really take? One article wrote about how Olympians, they don't eat fast food within 4 years in preparation of the Olympic Games. And just to be clear, that wasn't me. It is exciting to compete in the greatest games with the greatest athletes for the gold medal. But what I learned is just as important as the physical training is the training of the mind. And let me say it like this. I learned that an Olympic mindset is rooted in the power of perseverance. Perseverance is something that we all struggle with, whether it's having an Olympic mindset, living the life of your dreams, beating the odds. Perseverance is necessary and essential. And when you think about it, life can be hard. I mean, we've all experienced that to some capacity recently. I actually learned the definition of perseverance from The Most Unlikely Movie. Okay, you all know the movie Hitch for those amazing dance moves, right? Like the little Q-tip, right? But in the movie Hitch, Will Smith defines perseverance as continuing in a course of action without regard to discouragement, opposition, or previous failure. So if you want to persevere, you have to be able to continue. And I want to share what perseverance looks like in my life, as well as on the bobsled track. As a as a brakeman, I'm both the engine and the brakes to the sled. And yes, I get it going from 0 to 100 real quick, but once I pass the finish line, I have to grab the handles of the bottom of the sled and pull the grips on a big metal claw that makes contact with the ice and brings it to a complete halt. I'm talking about over 500 pounds in total weight, flying down a narrow stretch at 80 miles per hour, and I have to rear back and pull it and bring it all to a stop. My question to you is, what do you do when you have a big goal, but it feels like the brakes have been pulled and you don't know how to move forward? The year before the Olympic Games is really important in our sport. That's where you get to test what you bring to the table on the future Olympic track. So in 2013, we headed to Sochi, Russia to compete on the future Olympic track. It's the last race of the World Cup season. Everything is going well. I mean, we didn't crash, so we're practicing well, analyzing the ice from every angle, going through our routine. And then I receive a text from my mom. And the words on the screen made me stop as if that claw hit the ice on life. Your grandfather isn't doing well. Now, this is the man that has been such an influential role in my life. I remember my high school track meets, and he would be there every meet with his workman hat on and his wide frame lenses with a slight tint to him. And now I wasn't sure if he was going to make it. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it without him. And so let me ask you, what do you do when you feel like giving up? Yes, this can have to do with the days where you wake up and feel a bit tired. But what about when that call comes through that disrupts your life? That person you love breaks up with you, or you grieve the loss of someone you love. This is when you feel discouragement, opposition, and sometimes even a previous failure. And it's on these days that it's most challenging to have an Olympic mindset. For some reason, a lot of people think that Olympians don't feel like giving up. We all feel like giving up sometimes. So what do? In that moment, I was flooded with emotions. I instantly wanted to leave. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be with my family. I wanted to honor my grandfather. I barely even liked the sport at the time, to be honest. But leaving is easy. Leaving is easy. Staying is hard, because you only stay in those difficult moments if you're clear about a greater goal and the greater purpose. And so I could have left, but that wouldn't have put me in the position to prove what I built. So the story I chose was to prove myself on the future Olympic track. It was to honor my grandfather and the support he gave me by pushing through it. I chose to endure. I chose to persevere. You are faced with incredible challenges in your life. Sometimes the easiest thing you can do is run. It truly becomes a story of overcoming. Do you want to be known as someone who runs, or do you want to be known as someone who perseveres? And so I chose to champion that challenge. I chose to do whatever it took to accomplish the vision and endure the journey. Instead of acting like it didn't happen, acting like I wasn't affected, I chose to acknowledge those very real emotions and channel them into what I needed to do. And I know I'm not alone on this. When you have strong emotions, when you feel overwhelmed by life, if we're really being honest, it's like people don't understand what you've been through. People don't know the sacrifices you've made, and yet here you are continuing to move forward. You're choosing to live with an Olympic mindset, and you're choosing the power of perseverance. So what story are you going to choose? All right, it's 2014, and we did it, guys. I, Asia Evans, have become an Olympian. I've been named to the 2014 USA Women's Bobsled Olympic team, and I've landed in Sochi, Russia, to pursue my ultimate dream. I finally arrived at the biggest stage of my career, and as we're getting ready, you won't believe what happened. I mean, at this point, I thought I persevered enough, right? I'm supposed to be at the goal now. It's time to actually perform. But no, they moved me to a different team. Yeah, and just to put it into a bit of a context, we usually have months to build up teams, to practice, find the right pairing, the right cadences, everything. And in that moment, I had a week to build an Olympic caliber team with only one race with the pilot under my belt. And so in that moment, I felt defeated. All those emotions that I brushed under the rug, the grief, the hurt, the pains that I went through, it all resurfaced. But I had to make a choice. And in that moment, I chose to come together with my teammate, and we chose to attack the mission together, do it for ourselves, and give it everything we had. And so we did it. We won an Olympic medal, and it was the most amazing feeling in the world because we put it together and still did it despite all the odds. People counted us out. And so we've talked about the power of perseverance. Sometimes you're put under pressure and have to adjust and learn to remain calm and faithful in your goal. The path to success is no straight line. I mean, we all know that. There'll be bumps in the road, twists, turns, and as that saying goes, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? I personally like to think of life more like going down a bobsled track, taking off at the start, feeling the pressures at every turn, adapting to change in the blink of an eye. The rush of adrenaline at moments, the anxiety at moments, the uncertainty at moments. But when you cross that finish line and reach your ultimate goal, it's all worth it. Can you imagine feeling the pain and the struggle but continuing anyway? What if you're closer to the life you want than you ever dreamed? And so my question to you is, what if you chose the path of perseverance? What if the only difference between where you are and where you want to be is the power of perseverance? The power of perseverance is what makes an Olympic mindset. And you can have that mindset to overcome anything you want in life and pursue all your dreams. So now we're at the moment for your life, when that 60-second countdown begins. So what is it you want? 6, 5, 4. What is it you're going to overcome? Your heart is racing as the clock gets lower. Your focus gets deeper. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.